Hello and welcome to the Tridion live stream. We've got a couple of topics. Let's go through them first. So, first topic. So, what's happening? So, the Tridion Sites roadmap is now available on the community. There's a couple of interesting things on there. So, just if you don't know, we're going to be coming out with Tridion Sites 10.1.1 in June. And then the next release is going to be 10.1.2, which we're aiming for December to release that one. So 10.1.1 is all about advanced search. You're going to be able to have advanced search in experience space. So it's a very interesting feature, and we're really sort of rounding things out in experience space so that there's no need to really go back to the classic UI. So that's the first one. And then in 10.1.2, we're also going to be doing the same thing with the translation queue. So the translation queue is going to be available in experience space. And also, we're going to be supporting a behavior that used to exist in Classic, where you could start a translation job and then just save it for later, as opposed to immediately pushing it forward. So that's something that we're going to be doing for the 10.1.2 release. So just bear in mind, though, that this should not stop you from upgrading to 10.1, because both 10.1.1 and 10.1.2 are going to be available as fix packs. So it's going to be a very easy mechanism to upgrade. In other news, Tridion Docs 15.1.2 has been released, and if you go to docs.rws.com, you can see more information on that release. As well, I just want to mention that we do the live stream on the first Thursday of the month. We also do a LinkedIn Live event on the first Wednesday of the month, and we do that LinkedIn Live event, and you can take a look at the in the description to see how to sign up and follow the page where we do these LinkedIn Live events. They've been focused on the travel, leisure, and hospitality industry. So first Wednesday of every month, if you sign up. Yesterday we did a fascinating one on 3D, and of course, you've probably seen 3D being used maybe in real estate listings. Maybe you've seen 3D being used, for some of our airline sites where they're showing off their new premium classes, or maybe you've seen in some of our hotel websites how it's being used to show event spaces, etc. There's a lot of things that you can do with 3D, and from our perspective, 3D content is content. So having the 3D systems integrated with Tridion is actually pretty fascinating. We're also going to be at the Convex show in San Jose, April 7th to 9th. I believe Alvin's going to be there. I think I might drop by for maybe a post event that we're going to be hosting with some of our customers. So hope to see you there if you're going to be at Convex. And then we're also going to be at the Aviation Festival in Miami. Travel Launch Pro is going to be there, which is really the partnership between RWS and Lux Interactive. So we'll have a booth there. So please, if you're thinking about going to that aviation festival, reach out to me ahead of time, and we'll be able to do a meetup. So let me go ahead and add Alvin to the stage over here. Sorry, things are always a little bit tough on these live streams. I've got like 5 screens open trying to manage this all. All right, welcome, Alvin.
Pleasure. And yeah, I prefer you managing the screens and dashboards. You touched it first. It's all you.
Well, exactly. I got this thing started now. I have to like figure out all the controls. Although I think it's getting much smoother. I think those first couple of live streams were a little bit tough to do. But anyway, we got over the bumps on it. So Alvin, are you going to be at Convex in San Jose?
Yes, I'm getting ready for a presentation and a panel.
Oh, great.
And of course, they're related to AI. It's all AI. A lot of the conferences, actually, no, all of the conferences we've been going to have had a section or many things devoted to AI. So it's kind of fun to be in the space talking about how we approach it, how customers should be thinking about adopting artificial intelligence, specifically large language models. That's the big thing that's on everyone's mind, of course.
Yeah, well, and there's so many different types of use cases for incorporating AI. So right now there's a trend of some of our customers are incorporating AI as co-pilots. So within Tridion sites, if you load up your content into, for example, AI 12Z, which is the preferred tool for Tridion sites, you're able to get a co-pilot to help you generate content. Sometimes other customers are looking at AI12Z, for example, as a chatbot. So on their website to be able to quickly get information. So that's a second variation. And then the third use case is kind of interesting where they don't necessarily want to have a chatbot that provides information, but have a chatbot that actually just provides better search. And keyword-based searches are challenging enough, but using an AI-based search can actually be really good. So instead of generating any responses via AI, instead, what the AI chatbot can do is simply give you the links to the authoritative piece of content.
Yes, that's the RAG model, retrieval augmented generation, where you're not just relying on everything the large language model was trained on, but your own content that you're searching against.
Yeah.
Semantic search, right?
Right.
Um, and it's good to recognize the use cases. What I'm seeing, like personally, and my own use of software and talking to family, it's um, I don't know if it's everywhere, but like with my daughter, she's averse to using AI to create content, and she has a good reason from the sense that you know she's part of the creator culture. I think a lot
Hmm.
of us are. Right now, we're doing a podcast, and a lot of the LLMs are trained on content that's just out there. Like you've seen the controversy around Studio Ghibli, where someone has to prompt, make my picture in the form of Studio Ghibli. Ooh, yay, we're all excited. And then, there's this backlash saying, that's not right. The creators of Studio Ghibli don't like that, or the creator. Um, and is a sense of stealing,
Hmm.
which is it's funny because this is a familiar topic in the localization world. When you do professional localization, companies pay for it. And then that's stored in the translation memory that the companies keep, right?
Right.
So in that model, translators are getting paid, and companies are keeping what they're translating. So one of the things that's come up is, oh, can we just use ChatGPT, large language models for translation? And it's like, and what's interesting is at the beginning, it's like, no, you shouldn't do that.
Hmm.
We have machine translation, NMT, neural machine translation, with humans doing some post editing. And then just recently, like a few weeks ago, we released an article, blog post, explaining you can actually mix it up, where you have humans also in the loop helping, evaluating and ensuring quality. You have neural machine translation, but also you can do a large language model to check on quality and also to do some of the post edits. And people are still involved in the whole process in the loop. So it's changing. Um, and
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I think it's also fascinating too, just thinking about, having two separate types of models in order to do the translation and then being able to use the delta to assess the quality, to do a quality assessment, and to
Mhm,
be able
mhm.
to flag like, hey, these are some of the areas where there is a big delta between the translations. You better have a person look it over versus all of the other segments which might not need so much attention. So I think I think it's a great way to sort of economically scale out the translations. And we hear that a lot, from our customers, is they want to do more languages, but of course, just doing a plain old manual translation is too expensive. It gets a lot better with our neural machine translation capabilities. And now I think with this, it can even be even better because the translators are really just focused on the hot spots, and they'll be able to identify and see like, hey, what are the really problematic areas where I need to spend most of my time verifying.
Yep, and that comes back to having good source content with,
Mhm.
that's consolidated, that doesn't have duplicates, you know?
I
Just
know
bringing it back to the
well,
Tridion.
Yeah, that's definitely been a theme for us. I think in 2025, the themes that we're going to have, like beyond our industry theme, where for all those customers who are in travel, leisure, and hospitality, we're doing a lot of special events and special technologies. But I think that there is this theme that we have in 2025 around content hygiene and making content AI ready. And you can't really have content that's AI ready if you've got five different variations of the content and nobody knows what the canonical version is. So I think that's another theme that we've got as well. Actually, I should point out too that accessibility is also a big theme for this year. And so I encourage any of our customers who have any accessibility projects to reach out to the account executive, because we not only have a practice around helping people assess their accessibility requirements, but then also we have a practice around helping people achieve those accessibility goals through technology and tools and trading configurations and partnerships. Next month on the LinkedIn Live, which is the first Wednesday of the month, we're going to be doing accessibility and the digital traveler experience. So there we'll be touching on some of the tools that we have at our disposal in order to accomplish accessibility goals.
Yeah, it's all related to the same digital maturity. When I was researching accessibility, one of the things, one of the points that came up was really good one was that your search engine bots, Googlebot, is the world's largest and most prominent, or at least at the time, perhaps still is, um, blind and deaf user, right? So if
Sure.
you structure your content right, the SEO and accessibility requirements, they line up a bit in terms of how you want to structure your content, how many H1s you have on your page. And that it takes a bit of work to make that, but I think it's worth it in terms of the experience, because in the end, um, good experiences translate into good business outcomes,
Mhm.
right? So look at some of the best software out there, and the best companies. A lot of it comes down to that digital user experience.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, and on that note, I'm really glad that our DXA delivery or reference implementation for delivery actually lines up with schema.org and Google structured data, so that if you use DXA, you're sort of getting out of the box something that is aligned with not only accessibility but then also SEO goals as well.
Yep.
Um, and
Yep.
and on that note, I should say, if there's any customers out there who are interested in DXA Linux, so having DXA deployed on Linux, please do reach out. So if you're looking at some technologies like OpenShift, etc., we've got an initiative that's sort of formulating around putting together a solution for customers who do want to make that shift and do want to deploy DXA on Linux. So yeah, more on that probably in the next 6 months. But just want to let people know that something's brewing, and we'd be happy to talk about the solution for your company.
Yeah. One of the things we've seen with frameworks as things change is, um, it's never a complete shift from one technology stack to another, right? So we had scripting for a bit, and then we had mediators where you put things like Razor syntax into the content manager. And then along comes more headless approaches with MVC, Model View
Mhm.
Controller, in our digital experience accelerator. But then DXA still lived next side by side with CM side templating implementations. And then along comes headless, and headless was there, and people were attaching headless applications to DXA, so it's headless to MVC, and then we released our own CD API. So it's kind of like the strata of technologies. You keep adding, and you talk to a customer, and it's like, okay, what are we working on, whatever, and they go, oh yeah, we still have our previous 3 or 4 CMSs. So it's not easy. It's not easy out there. So it's nice to hear, an iteration on something, even though you might think it's old. um, a lot of the older technology is still powering a lot of these experiences.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
right.
Yeah, and I think the DXA has sort of stood the test of time and has evolved as things have moved forward. And I think that there's still a lot of value in terms of having um, a a module that can also not only sort of provide a example front end, but then also have this middleware layer that's inside of DXA if you want to, for example, create a React application. Um,
Yeah, our dear old back end for the front end.
Well, exactly. Exactly. We were doing that before the term ever existed, but anyway. Um, so yeah, I guess we're at the 15-minute mark. Any other thoughts or comments?
Just on the AI, something came up and I was thinking about it. I was signing a note for a colleague. Might as well mention it. John Box. He's been head of our community platform for about 8+ years.
Hmm.
He's the one who was leading the ideas, the RWS ideas, formerly SDL ideas project. I was able to help with him. He's retiring, so I was sending him a send off. Hopefully, I'm not spoiling anything for anybody. But in the software where I was making the card, there was no AI button. I actually appreciated that. I
Hmm.
appreciated not having an AI bot come in and say, "Hey, let me write your goodbye letter for you." And that reminded me that you don't need to use LLMs just to create content. You can, a better AI experience might be like, what's a good time you remember with so and so, or what do you wish them going forward, or what's an embarrassing moment that you'd like to share. You can flip the script and have an LLM prompt you to get the best content that you can make,
Oh yeah,
rather
totally.
than doing the other way around where you try to get content and you try to make it better. So use the tools to improve um, your your experiences and your own writing. You don't necessarily have to copy and try to change um, what the LLMs give you. So that's my thought of the day.
Excellent. All right. Well, cool. So I guess that wraps up this month's live stream. We'll see you the next first Thursday of the month, and don't forget about the LinkedIn Live, which is the first Wednesday of the month. Anyway, have a great April, everyone, and we'll talk to you next month. Thanks.
Cheers.
All right.
Take care.
Thanks, Alvin.
Bye bye.
Bye.